Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be ranking every AFL team's 2021 season. Last year I did this video, so I thought it was only right if I did it as well this year. Basically how it works, we've got 5 tiers on the tier maker. We've got amazing, good, alright, poor, and then horrible. Now obviously today we're going to be putting every AFL team in one of those categories depending on how well I think they did in the 2021 season. So if you guys do enjoy this content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll hop straight onto the tier maker. So here we are on the tier maker. As I did say before, amazing, good, alright, poor, and then horrible. So we'll start off with the Adelaide Crows. I'm gonna put them in, I'm gonna say poor, because last year, let's be honest, they had a really bad season. So for them to come up, they've risen up a little bit in the ladder this year, so not too bad of a season for the Crows, as last year they were the worst team in the league and have pulled out some pretty impressive wins this season, especially against Geelong and Melbourne, 2 of the best teams in the year. So for the Crows to be able to do that, yeah, I still don't think they probably did have an alright year, to be honest. I'm going to put him up to alright. You know what? Because they have had some pretty outstanding wins, they also had some pretty shocking losses as well in the season, but we'll give them the upside as they did beat the Cats and the D's earlier in the year, so we'll put them all right, although definitely they could be deserved to put in poor, but we'll put them in all right for now. But if the tiers do seem a bit weird soon, we might have to put them down in the poor, so we'll put them in all right. Brisbane, I'm going to say they had a good year. It's just the finals that really do them dirty. So they do really well in the home and away season, but when they get to finals, they can't seem to play their good brand of footy. So obviously, they've had a really bad finals history over the past couple of years. So the Brisbane Lions, I'm going to put them in good just because they had a really good year. Obviously, had the highest percentage in the league out of any other team. So I'm going to put them in good. They had a really nice home and away season. It's just the finals that really stumped them. So Carlton, now I'm going to put the Blues, I thought this was going to happen. I'm going to put the Crows back in poor. I'm going to put Carlton in alright just because of their ladder placing. But other than that, they've had a pretty poor year as well, actually. I'm going to put them in poor. I'm going to put them with Adelaide. That could be a bit stiff. Carlton fans, come at me in the comments. The last few videos I've done have really been stiffing up Carlton fans, but I'm going to put them in poor, mainly because they haven't had too many great wins this year, and every year they say they're going to make finals, and where have we seen that footy? We have not seen them play any bit of finals footy over the past few years. Every time they've said that they're going to make finals, so I'm going to put them in the poor tier. But who knows, if the Blues fans can shock me next year, if the Blues can do something good this year, they might be able to maybe hop into one of these tiers when I do this video next year. But we're going to put them in poor for now. Obviously a bit stiff seeing them in the poor section with the Crows, but I think that is the right position to put them. Moving on, we have the Pies. I'm going to put the Pies in horrible. They've had a really shocking year. Now obviously everyone thought this was going to be a rebuilding year for the Pies, but nobody knew really where they were going to finish on the ladder, because a lot of people in their ladder predictions either had them all right, maybe sitting around that 8th position, or they had them down the bottom of the ladder, but no one expected them to do as poorly as they did. Definitely going to put them in the horrible section just because they have not shown anything. They won their last game for Bucks against the D's, but that's basically the only good thing that's happened for them all year. Moving on to the Bombers. Now, the Bombers came in 8th position, but still yet to win a final. I'm going to put them in alright because that is the perfect spot to put them, I reckon. Definitely not in poor, because that would be really stiff to put them with the Blues and the Crows, as they did come 8th on the ladder. They've had some pretty impressive wins during the year against the Dogs and a few other teams that had a pretty outstanding season. So the Bombers, an alright year. They just couldn't really seem to do anything in the finals, which I haven't been able to do for like 20 years now. Moving on to the Dockers, I could be biased and put them in alright, but I'm going to say that we had a pretty poor year. We didn't live up to our expectations at all. A lot of people thought that we're going to make the 8, and a lot of people are saying now that we might make the 8 next year. However, I don't know, because over the past few years, we've kind of been in the same boat as the Blues, as saying, like, we're going to make the top 8, but we haven't really shown that footy at all. We had maybe 1 or 2 good wins in the season. We won against Richmond, we won against West Coast. That's basically the only upside we've had this year. The Dockers, it could be a bit stiff putting them in poor. Actually, I'm going to put them in alright because we didn't live up to our expectations. But seriously, putting them in good, 100% no. Putting them in poor might happen. But we'll put them in alright for now. We'll sit them there and we'll see if we move them down. Now on to Geelong. Now obviously they had an outstanding year making finals. Had a bit of a shaky boat halfway through the season with not the greatest bit of form. Losing a fair few games. But I'm going to put them in good. I don't think they deserve to go in the amazing tier. I'm going to put them in the good tier for now with the Brisbane Lions. I think they have been in the same boat for around the last maybe 2-3 years. I'm going to put them in the same tier as Brisbane just because I feel like that's where they sit. Didn't have too great of a final series. However, they did pull off some pretty good wins in their home and away season. And they were once again one of the most outstanding teams in the year. So I'm going to put them in good. Now the Suns, look, when have they really done anything good in their career? I think I'm going to put them in horrible. We haven't seen anything from the Gold Coast Suns, which annoys me because I want to see the Suns do good. Now obviously last year they had a bit of an early patch where people were thinking, gee, watch out, Matty Rowell is here. But once again, Matty Rowell this year did not live up to his expectations, got injured again, but however, for the games that he was back in, a lot of people thought he was going to be as outstanding as he was early last year. Now moving on to GWS, now they had a pretty good year. I'm going to put them in alright. I feel like they probably had a bit of a better year than the Dockers did, so I'll put them in front of the Dockers as probably maybe not better than Essendon just because Essendon made finals. I'm going to put GWS behind Essendon and in front of the Dockers because I think that's a good place to sit them because they did have an alright year. I reckon that is a good place to put them as they were in a similar boat. So I would say they're more in a similar boat to the Dockers than they were the Bombers this year. Going to put them in the middle of alright. I reckon that really suits them for this tier maker. Hawthorne, I'm going to put in poor. I wouldn't say horrible as they had maybe they had a few wins but still bottom 4. Remember that footy that we used to watch the Hawks play back in 2012, 13, 14, 15. Jeez, they were outstanding back then, but they've dropped off like every good team has to do. And I'm going to put them in poor because their 2021 season was poor. We got to face it. Now the D's, obviously you have to put them in amazing. And if anyone is doing this video and doesn't put them in amazing, then I'm not sure what you were doing. They versed the Dockers at the G. I went to that. But geez, back then I did not think that the D's were going to go ahead, make the grand final, win the grand final by 10 plus goals. So, gonna put them in amazing. Obviously, they won the grand final. They were the best team all year. Have to put them in amazing, and you can't tell me otherwise. North Melbourne, obviously came bottom of the table. I'm gonna put them in horrible because they came bottom of the table. Wouldn't spoon us. They didn't win a game for so long. I think their first win was against Hawthorne at UTAS, so Hawthorne fans must be a bit sad out there when that happened. I do remember that, and that was the one time that I didn't tip North Melbourne because I tipped North about 3 weeks in a row and they lost all of them, and I was just waiting for that surge from the Kangas to come, and it happened the one time I decided not to pick them in my tipping. Gonna put them in horrible, certainly the place to put them as they were the bottom of the ladder. Port Adelaide, now they've had, I would say they would have an amazing year, but I don't know if anyone really deserves to be in that boat with Melbourne because Melbourne are outstanding. They've absolutely outdone everyone else in the league, so we have to put Power in good. I would put them in amazing, but it just wouldn't seem right. Melbourne and Port Adelaide being in the same tier. Melbourne are one step ahead of everybody else in the league. Gonna put Port Adelaide probably top of good. They were a bit better than Geelong and Brisbane this year, so I'm going to put them top of good. Richmond, now I'm tempted to put Richmond in horrible because, no, I am going to put them in horrible. Probably not behind the Suns and North. I'm going to put them here. I'm going to put, oh no, they had a better year than Collingwood, but I'm going to put them top end of horrible. Now, the Titans, last year they won the grand final, and now they just dropped form for about the last 7 games of the year, and they've just done this. So, Titans fans, can't get angry at me in the comments because your team had an absolutely horrendous season this year. St Kilda, I reckon they had an alright year. I'm going to put them in front of the Dockers because I'm pretty sure they came maybe 1 or 2 positions above Freo on the ladder, so I reckon that is a good place to put them. Would I say that they had a better year than the Giants? They did beat the Giants this year, but I don't think they had a better year than the Giants, because the Giants had some pretty outstanding wins. So did the Saints, but I'm going to put them, I reckon, around that tier on the all-right level. So we've got 3 more teams to get through. Sydney, West Coast, the Dogs. Let's switch it up. We're going to go West Coast. I'm going to put West Coast top end of poor. They had a shocking year. They finished below the Dockers. And for all these teams in the poor section, like West Coast, Richmond, and a few others, they were expected to be up in the top 8, in the top 4 in fact, and they don't even make top 11. So horrible year, one of the worst we've seen in West Coast for West Coast in the past maybe 4 years. But seriously, West Coast and Richmond have to get back on track. Do I think they'll make finals next year? That's a bloody good question, but certainly not from the form that we've seen second half of this year. I don't think they'll make finals if we're basing it off that form. Sydney, I'm putting Sydney. I reckon they had probably not a better year than Brisbane. That would be a bit stiff for Brisbane. I'm gonna put them bottom end of good, because they did have a really good season. They jumped the ladder. Everyone predicted them to come maybe bottom 4 on the ladder this year. But for them to come bloody like 5th or 6th or wherever they did come, that is a ripping effort from the Swans. They shocked everyone in the league, and I thought they were going to go on and win the flag, but however, that was not the case. And now the Dogs, I'm not going to do the Dogs dirty. I'm going to put them in amazing as well. The D's and the Dogs were the top team all year. We can't move down the Dogs just because of those 3 or 4 games that they had off. I'm going to put them in amazing with the D's, because that's definitely where they deserve to go. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in my next video.